very excited to be sitting here making this 5-year on testosterone video. Whenever I make videos like this, I typically look back at my transition and at my life, and I think back to pre-transition, how I would constantly absorb myself in watching different videos of trans guys or reading blogs, anything like that, of just hearing about their stories, and especially when they hit these huge milestone markers like 1 year on testosterone, 5 years on testosterone, 10 years on testosterone, top surgery, all these things that I envisioned for myself. And it gave me a little bit of glimpse of hope to see the potential of what my future could actually be. So it just feels like really surreal to be making videos like this, because I hope that it resonates with somebody and it can be helpful and give somebody out there a little bit of glimpse of hope for their own personal life and transition. So if you've watched any of my other videos where I do tea updates like this, it's a very typical format that I go by, which is talking about updates, changes, and then I usually get a little bit sappy and talk about my gratitude for my transition and for my life and for all of the supports and love that I have in my life, and I'm very, very blessed with that. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into the changes and updates, more so updates, to be honest. So it gets repetitive saying this, but the most significant change that I've experienced throughout my transition would definitely be hair growth, and whether that's just on my body, on my face, my hands, my feet. Like, I'm just a little hairy hobbit man, I guess, but I'm okay with that. I don't know if there has been a whole significant amount of change when it comes to my facial hair over the past year, but looking at my 4-year on testosterone video, I feel like there are some changes. Like, I think this is getting thicker. I think it's coming in more. My stash is still pretty weak, but it's starting to look a little bit better, more like a mustache and not just like a got milk stash. But here, I'm gonna go ahead and include some close-ups so y'all can see what I'm talking about. The video on top is 4 years on testosterone, and I was about 2 weeks unshaved. And the video on the bottom is me currently, where I'm about 3 weeks unshaved. So my hair is probably growing in faster now, which is kind of nice and annoying all at the same time. But as you can see, my mustache is darker in color and the hairs are becoming a lot more coarse. I know in my 4-year on testosterone video, I took some time to discuss my overall face shape, because I didn't really realize over the years that my face had changed as much as it did. And I feel like now when I look in the mirror, I almost have like these moments of euphoria where I feel like a young man, like I feel like I fit into like my age group now, where I'm not constantly being viewed like a 14-year-old, So I don't know, it's like these really intense, beautiful moments sometimes that I have when I'm just like staring in the mirror and being like, wow, yeah, like I've come this far in my life, and now I can start to see a lot of like similar characteristics of my brother, which I never thought we looked much alike, and now we do quite a bit. Yeah, but that's really it for the physical side of my transition, being 5 years on testosterone. But I do have some updates in relation with my transition. So over the past year, I have decided to switch clinics and find a different provider who takes care of my hormones and transitional care. And the biggest reason why I chose to switch over my care was because I was needing more. I was definitely needing more, and I was needing somebody who is a lot more well-versed in trans issues and trans medicine. There was a lot of just not great experiences before, and I hit my tipping point, and I needed to take care of me. So that's what I did. And it was honestly one of the best choices I could have made for my transitional healthcare. But going there has opened up some doors for me. So I've lately, the past 2 years or so, I've been really struggling with my T-shots, and I get so anxious doing it. And part of it is because I had like a nightmare of a T-shot happen, and I just don't do blood. I don't do it, and I almost blacked out, and there was a lot of blood everywhere, and I was just like, fuck this, I need a different way of doing my shots. But I now do sub-Q shots, and so I inject it into my stomach, and the needle is so much smaller. It's tiny, Alright, so I tried to focus the camera so y'all could see how tiny this needle is, because I just did my shot today, but you can't even see it. My camera won't pick up on it because it's so tiny. But literally, the needle is like that big. So it's a lot easier to stab myself with that, and it's easier for me to do it in my stomach because it's like you're not having to turn your body, and there's like enough tummy fat there to just stick it right into. So it's been going good for the most part. Highly encourage it. If you have some severe needle anxiety, ask your doctor about sub-Q injections, because it has made my T-shots so much easier in the long run. Some other areas that I explored during my appointment with my new doctor was the conversation around how does one go about getting a hysterectomy, because that is something that has been on my to-do list. And before going to this clinic, I just really had no idea where to start, because I live in rural Wisconsin, where it's kind of hard to find places that are going to be very well-versed and informed on trans bodies and whatnot. And then also the fact of how much dysphoria I get when I even think about this process. So yeah, and I'm kind of clamming up talking about it, but it was nice being able to bring that up to my doctor, and she was able to give me some resources, and I'll likely go to Minneapolis or something, because thankfully I don't live super far from it, and there's just a lot more opportunities out there. But it's little things like that have just made the world of a difference with my transition. So that's really it with all the changes and updates in relation to my transition over, the past 5 years, but over the past year as well. And I'm just gonna get a little sappy here and say, I'm incredibly thankful for the amount of support and love I have in my life. I would not be the man I am today without that type of love and support. And testosterone in my transition has given me so much life, where I get to, today I'm doing just so much advocacy work and working with trans individuals one-on-one and really helping them. And it feels unreal that this is my life and that I get paid to do something like that. And it just goes to show, never give up. There's so many times early on before I transitioned where I just felt like it wasn't feasible. I could never get to that point. And that's why I would always look at videos and stuff like that, read stories, because it inspired me. And I'm happy I didn't give up, and I'm here living my truest and best self in life. So I'm done being sappy now, but thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it, give it a thumbs up, or subscribe to my channel. I'm not going to make any promises of when I'm going to get a video out next, but I do want to create better habits where I can continue doing things like this, because it does fill my cup up in a lot of ways, and I miss the dialogue and the community of people and just connecting with people. But with that said, I do have to get going because I got a dog that is getting a little antsy over here, and he's probably got to go potty. But hopefully I'll be making a video within the next month or so. But until then, I hope you all have a safe and wonderful few weeks ahead. All right, thanks guys. Bye.